We're back with yet another episode of Franchise My Business, the podcast for franchisors, hosted by franchisors. I'm your host, Kevin Oldham, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about why I decided to start a digital marketing agency back in 2015. So for those of you that don't know, this is a fun project for me. Franchise My Business podcast. I love getting to have conversations with others and really get to know them, particularly in the industry and the business model that I love most, which is the franchise industry. And, back in 2015, I was at a crossroad. So I was the chief marketing officer and co-founder of United Real Estate, which was a franchise system for real estate companies. And we were going through a capital raise. And I decided that once that process was done, I was going to start a company. And I wasn't still even sure what type of company I was going to start, but I had this burning desire to go and launch a company kind of by myself. I'd done some with, a partner within a bigger company, but I never really just did it by myself. And nobody does it by themselves, but you know what I'm saying, like kind of solo founder type of stuff. And the reason why I actually had, there's a business reason why I chose a marketing company. So we'll go into that. And then there were a couple of personal reasons. So let's go into the business reason. One of the things that I tell people that come to our digital marketing company, DeFactory, and they don't know anything about us, I say, here's why we exist as an organization. Back in 2015, I asked myself the question, does the world need another digital marketing company? And I think we could all say that there's plenty of us out here. And so initially I was like, the answer to that question is no. But then if I asked a different question, is there a space in the world for a digital marketing company that does things on time, on or under budget, with integrity? Sure, we're not perfect. Digital marketing is actually a really, really hard thing to do because it's not binary. It's not like engineering or finance or accounting. Like there's a lot of subjectivity associated with what we've chosen to do as a profession. And the question I asked is if there was a place in the market for a company like that. And I gave us a hell yes. Like I felt like there was a need because I had been burned by a marketing company before. At my last company, I was sitting in the customer's shoes and we hired somebody, we paid them 6 figures. They didn't do what they said they were going to do. And it was a subpar outcome. As a matter of fact, it was way less. It was way more than subpar. It was terrible. So that's kind of the business reason. And for those of you that don't know, at DeFactory Digital Marketing, we specialize in helping emerging franchisors launch, get off the ground and scale. And we love doing it. Okay. Now the personal reasons had to do with my family. Real honestly, back in 2015, my kids were they were young. I have to think back, 8. So they were like 2 and 3 years old. And I knew that we'd start having conversations like what we're having now about the future and what they want to do when they grow up and all these things. And I wasn't living my authentic life. I was kind of like a lion in the cage. Sure, I loved what I got to do, but I guess I had this fear. The fear was that if I got prematurely sick or something like that, that I was going to be on my deathbed. Number one it was like the one unfinished piece of business that I felt like I needed to do. So I was successful in accomplishing this goal back in 2015, the day I resigned. And then the second thing was I wanted my kiddos, when we had these conversations like what we're having now about the future and all these things, I wanted to give them counsel very authentically without being a hypocrite. And the reality was, I wasn't living my dream, my life, right? So if they came to me and said, "Hey, Dad, I want to be an astronaut," I wanted to look at them in the eyes and with integrity and speak from a place of truth. And by just resigning back in 2015, I was successful in doing that. So before I even got home that day, to start my career as an entrepreneur, like literally the day I resigned, I was already successful in really the 2 main things that I wanted to accomplish from a personal perspective. So I think that the summary here is that, first of all, there's never a great time to leap if you're thinking about leaping. And leaping could be, hey, you've got a great business that you're thinking about basically franchising and expanding via franchising. And that's like that's a huge leap. It's a new business. It's a startup. It's going to take all sorts of things that your other core business doesn't need. And the reality is the timing's never perfect. Like if you sit on the sideline and wait, life is going to pass you by. And the reality is none of us know when we're going to fall off this big rock, when our time's going to be done. So if you've got something that you've got like a burning desire or something like that, I implore that you like at least address it and think about it and do whatever you need to do. Talk to other people. I mean, it was years before I took the leap, and I talked to tons of mentors. I did tons of research and frankly, probably too much, right? But so far so good. Like it's worked out okay, and I feel very appreciative for that. So if you want to learn more about our digital marketing company, maybe you're a franchisor or somebody thinking about franchising, and you want to know what types of things we can help you with, go to thefactory.com. F as in Frank, F as in Frank, ACTORY.com. It's a combination of the words differentiation and factory. We believe in the most commoditized markets. If you can differentiate, that you can carve out market share, and there's a methodical way that you can do that, which is where the factory component comes through. I'm your host, Kevin Oldham. I have two asks. Number one, if you got value out of this episode and you think that somebody else in your life that may get value from it, please go ahead and text them a link to this episode right now. And then number two, if you like what we're doing at Franchise My Business, deeply appreciate if you'd hit that subscribe button on platform of choice. Till next time, hope and trust all is well. Have a great week.